All right. Welcome back to Taking a New Approach podcast. I am so grateful to be here. Hopefully you are as well. Thank you for clicking on the video. There are no mistakes in the universe. So please understand when you clicked on this video, there is something here for you right now. Take what works for you and leave the rest, because it's all about increasing your journey, your skills on your journey as you are learning more about yourself. Okay. So I always like to start off the podcast to get us grounded, to get us focused on what I'm about to say, and also just to block out the, reality of what's going on with all the corona and everything else, or whatever might be going on in your life, just so that you could really get the message. Because this week you should really be focusing on, and whenever you hear this, I truly believe this, that you should be focusing on listening to your intuition a little bit more. Okay. And as you can read from the title, you'll see why. Okay. So I'm going to count to 3. Take your deep breath, blow it out. We do it again, and then I get right into it. All right. So 1, 2, 3, blow it in, breathe in. All right, and blow it out. And 1, 2, 3, breathe in again. And you should feel fantastic. I always do. Whenever I do this, I always feel amazing. It's like just very simple things you can do, right? And that's what I want to talk to you about today, right? Very simple things you could do. Because I realized this. There's so much information, including me being on YouTube. I'm not going to exclude me, that you can learn from, right? And one thing I've learned on this journey, right? Whatever you want to call it, your path, whatever, is that you will see a lot of people giving you information, but you got to realize what is good information versus what is not, right? So yes, knowledge is good, but accurate knowledge is better. Okay. You want to be accurate. And the thing is that many times, like myself, we get in it, we get hyped, right? We start feeling good. We got the buzz going. We in the vortex. Like, life is good. You see the butterflies. You manifest the little thing. The depression go away a little bit. Like all of that really happens for you. And it's like, yes. But then you don't realize that there's more to this. Okay? And spirituality should be seen as a skill. Okay? Just like anything else you do. Right? To be able, like, everything you do should be looked at as a skill. Because a lot of times now if you're new to spirituality, you will see a lot of people try to bash it, and you got a lot of hustlers in it who just like, oh, let me give you readings after readings after reading. The whole goal is for your own spiritual thing. Like, I'm not saying that a reading is a bad thing, because I like that type of stuff too. Like, we're all here to help each other, right? But at the same time, it comes a point where you should be able to do for yourself a lot of times. And the reason why you see that, I see a lot of the same predatorial capitalism within spirituality is because people, they try to sell you these dreams because they know that you're not going to look at spirituality as a skill. And you say, well, how is spirituality is so broad? That's the thing, though. There's so many things you can do within it, right? It's so many things. But if you take it and look at it as a skill, now you're looking at, okay, what applies to me? And how can I make this work for me? See, it's a different mentality when you carry spirituality as a skill versus you just, this is a lifestyle. Because when you have a skill, you treat it differently, right? It's something that helps you Typically we look at it in terms of earning, right? Like it's something that makes you money. But what if spirituality was looked at as a skill in terms of making your life better, and you treated it as such? See, that's where we are going to have to start to shift kind of the conversation or the mentality of how we treat this thing we call spirituality. Because a lot of people get in and it's just for something. Oh, I want to get a soulmate. I want to get a twin flame. I want this $10 million house. Like, first off, I'm going to let you know, I love money, but the way that we do business in this reality right now is garbage. It's absolutely garbage. It's garbage. It is not helpful. For you to want a $10 million home while there are starving people, that's an issue. Right? Like we should want more for others than they actually want for themselves. That's real talk. Like, that doesn't mean you have to give up everything you have in order for them to meet that. But our goal should be that we should be trying to increase the level of everyone in what we do. It shouldn't just be about what can I. That's the ego. That is not helpful. And if we start to look at spirituality as a skill, when we look at skills, it's something that you just don't expect to hop in and get this luck and it just be magic and all this, because we use those terms. But this really was just a skill, right? The alchemist, this was just the skill of understanding oneself, the skill to know how to manipulate, dimensions and things of this nature. That's all this is. So when you treat it as such, now you can look at it as a long journey, because you don't think, like, if you're trying to become a plumber, you don't think that you're just going to become a plumber in 2 months. No, it's a skill. It's going to take some years. And if you want to be a master plumber, or whatever you would call the plumber who has ton of experience, right? They probably going to have a good 10, 15 years, at least 5. Of actually doing it on their own. So probably like 10 to 15 years, definitely 20. So if we could look at now this thing that we call spirituality, as you go in and you're searching and you're trying to find out who you are, you need to see this as a skill to understand oneself. And it really is, because most people don't understand themselves. This is not about judging people and how they go about it. It's really about looking at this journey as something, as building a skill. This is a skill, and we need to start treating it as such. Something that can make our lives better. But how do we do that? Right? I'm writing a book now, right? About different exercises that I have used on my journey to help me with different things, whether that's to release anger or to build more self-confidence and self-love, or, to get more tapping into my intuition, like just a whole bunch of different things, and from other people as well. Things that I've seen that, like, oh, this would be helpful for someone who's newly getting into this, or even if you've been into this and you're like, you know what, that's interesting. Let me check that out. Because I didn't find that. Like, I'm kind of more just trial and error. Like, I learned that I'm numerology, I'm a 7, which in terms of that, I'm into the hidden knowledge, all this type of stuff. But I learned by trial and error a lot in order so I can teach. So a lot of this I have done, right? So now it's kind of like a blueprint, a shortcut. Not to cheat, right? But just to help you along the way, to get you to be able to have information at your hand so that you can build your skill. And it's all different. And that's the thing I like about thinking about spirituality as a skill. because we all bring different skills to the table when it comes to this area, right? Because all our journeys are different. So that means so many different skills. And you don't have to worry about it because you're building yours. Yours is not the same as mine. So you don't need to compare. Stop trying to compare everything. I was terrible at that, right? Like I was terrible. And sometimes I fall into that sometimes of comparing, right? And that came from a lack of love, a lack of self-love, of not having confidence, right? Not really appreciating myself and telling myself a lie based off of reality, right? Like reality could be a fact, but that's not the universal truth. Understand what I just said? Reality can be a fact. You can be broke. That can be a fact. Like your bank account, you owe the bank. Right? Like you owe the bank. They like, hold that player. Right? You're like, you negative 350 over here. We gonna, like, you owe the bank. That can be a fact. But a fact doesn't always mean it has to be true. That is the truth about who you are. And that's what I mean by the universal truth. This is all a holographic reality, right? The holographic universe. I mentioned it a couple of times, but none of this exists. So, yes, what you're seeing is real for the naysayers, because they're always going to be naysayers. Oh, that's not true. What about the killings? What about, yes, that's fact. But that's not the universal truth. You are not poor. Right? You are not truly broke. You are not truly worthless. Those things are what your ego tells you because of what society and the trauma that you have really allowed to receive. Right? Like you allowed that to get inside of you. Take that away. Right? Give that away. That's not yours. It never will be. Your higher self doesn't agree with it. That's not who you truly are in the universal mind. In the divine mind, there is no loss. There is no disease. There's none of that. But it is, right? When you think about this, it's so hard. It is like when you've been so conditioned, right? It's only hard because we have been conditioned to only see their reality, this reality that we have. To see, okay, well, I don't have this many followers on Instagram or YouTube or subscribers, or, my job is not paying me enough, or, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, or, I don't look like this and these people don't want to talk to me and all that. And I get it. It gets to you. It gets to me. Like I will never act like, oh, I ain't never struggled. I got everything. I'm the greatest. Right? Like, but that's true, my universal truth, right? But I'm not going to sit up there and act like in my reality I haven't felt differently. See, stop telling yourself a lie, but see, that was a skill that I had to build up in myself. See, look at everything as a skill to help you. See, a mentality is a skill. Not everybody has that. And it's something you have to work on. A skill is something you have to work on, and you do it over and over again, and then it gets you some result. That's really what a skill is. That's really what a skill is. It's something you do over and over and over again, and it gets you a result. And it helps you out. It makes you a little bit better than where you were in that current state. That's a skill. So start to look at everything that you're doing as a skill. Driving is a skill, right? Something that you learn how to do and it helps you out, whether that's to get to more money, whether that's to get to safety, right? To get to something that gives you joy and pleasure, happiness, all of that. So why can't your spirituality be a skill for you? Start to make it a skill for you today. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that is beneficial in terms of money, but why not? Right? Like, I'm never going to tell you not, but I think it's time for us to get out this idea of like money is long term, like wealth is long term. I love this quote that I learned. It says that, full mind, empty room, full room, empty mind. Like my good friend told me, right? Still talk to my coworker if you ever listen to this, but he told me, we were talking, having a discussion just about life and what's going on right now. And he told me, and I was surprised I even said it. I was just like, I was like, who said that? That's pretty dope. And he was like, I told him, like, he just said, like, luxury is going to be the death of man. And I was like, man, that sounds good. Who said that? Like, I thought he was just dropping a little knowledge on me. Like, real talk. I thought he was just really dropping knowledge on me. I was like, ooh, this boy cold right here. But no, really, he was telling me, he was like, no, man, you said that when we was at Chili's, when we used to work together. We sometimes go to the bar after work and get a little drink or whatever. And I told him that. I was like, dang, that's dope. I didn't realize I said that. Sometimes I forget this stuff, but it's true. Stop plugging into this luxury type of lifestyle, because luxury is what you make it. And the luxury that we have been conditioned here is a reason, because that is the trap. That is to get you to really die. Because you see all these people, they keep promoting, the planes and the Maybachs and the nice cars and the beautiful women and the 17 million homes and all that other stuff, right? And I'm not saying like, they don't have a right to do what they want to do. It's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying, though, is they constantly have to be on to maintain that stuff. So they're constantly, who is really serving who? Is because if they're constantly trying to make more money, then money is really their master. They try to tell you, I make this money so I can have more freedom. How is it that you have more freedom, but you're constantly still selling to me? You're constantly telling to me. You're constantly working. Like, how is that? I love it. I guarantee you, if those people could still make the same money and still make the same moves and do it in less time and have more time for just to do literally whatever they really wanted, they would take that offer over doing it the way they're doing it right now. So miss me with the BS. So you gotta start to think like that. But I didn't get that skill to think like that until I really started to see and invest in myself through spirituality in different ways, right? Like right now, I think I said it last episode, but whatever it is, like I'm investing in myself in terms of doing hypnotherapy, right? And I really want to work with people to help people clear their, he liked to say, their shit, right? Just get rid of that junk, get rid of the trauma and things, and learning those real techniques that are actually working and that's actually proven, science-based, right? I'm not trying to give you the rinky dink coaching session like, okay, well, just do some stuff and it'll work out, because you were already prepared to release that anyway. Because that's a lot of what the coaching is nowadays. Like, I don't want to sell you BS. That's why I took a break, because I'm like, man, I want to give people something real. I don't want to get scammed like everybody that scammed me and gave me some garbage because they really didn't have a skill. They didn't take this as a skill. They just grabbing that air, right? Okay, yeah, just do this. Just do that. Just being a ear to listen to. And I'm not knocking that, because sometimes that's just what it needs to happen. But I really want real impact. Not something where you go, I'm going to charge you $200 and you're going to sit there and just tell me to write a gratitude list. I could have figured that out on my own. Right? But at the same time, it might be as simple as writing like that still would be a part of it, right? Because it is an effective tool, right? That's one of the exercises in my book. Write a gratitude list. I did it for months on end. And I saw the difference. Like now I can easily just conjure up the energy of gratitude. I know how it feels now. That's a skill. And it feels good. Like I could easily just like wake up and just be grateful and get in that energy. And I know what that energy feels like. But I couldn't always do that when I first heard it. Like when I first heard somebody talk about gratitude, it's like, yeah, you say thank you and stuff like that, but it's not something a lot of people practice or really understand what that energy means and truly mean it. Have real sincerity about it. That's the skill to get to that point where you know, like, I'm in that zone and I know how that zone feels. And the goal is it's going to feel different. It's whatever I'm feeling, you might feel the same way, but it's going to feel in whatever way that you interpret it. So you got to learn that for yourself. I'm just like letting you know, like, this is how we should start to approach it as a skill. Start to approach your spirituality as you are building skills. This is skills. This is a skill that will help you in every aspect of your life. You see, even business people go to the spiritual side when they really want to break through and make millions and tens of millions and billions. They go spiritual. They don't just go and be like, oh, I just gotta work harder. That's what they tell you. It's all corrupt. That's what they tell you. But they go spiritual behind closed doors. Right? Like the US government, like, I don't know where you listening to this from. They have astrologers, numerologists, psychic readers. They have all different types of people on their payroll. You don't have to believe me. Go look it up. It don't help me to look like a fool when you know you can get blasted because this is going public. Right? like it doesn't help me to be absolutely telling a lie because that doesn't help my credibility. Go look it up. Heck, even you can go and look up, I think it was an episode on Vice City. If you know what that is, it's a channel or Vice, whatever, you go to YouTube it. And they had a guy on there who talked about they use remote viewing, which is we can get in that, or you could go research it for yourself. But basically remote viewing, and I'll give you a little definition of it, is basically the person, he was hired by the government and they wanted to see if it was real. And so they tested him. And so they sent these people to do 2 different places, and they were just supposed to look at stuff around them. And what he does is he taps into that and is able to start to view exactly what they're seeing. And he was drawing it. And he got some stuff right. Now, of course, if he would have got it all right, I don't think they would have published it. So I think they wanted to get it wrong. But he gets hired by the government. Right? Like, that's a real thing. Like, I just need people to really understand this. Like, you see how that spiritual skill he has is now allowing him to make money. That's just one way. But you see how the government is taking that spirituality serious? You see how it's not a joke to those who really understand. And so when you take this serious like a real skill, then you can become extremely powerful. That's our goal. You want to be powerful for yourself, not to dominate over others, just for you to create what you need to create and get done what you need to get done while you're here. And you're the only person that could tell us that. You're the only one that's going to show us what that is. So it's up to you. When you are ready, when you feel that this is what I need to be doing, then we will be allowed to see that, because then you will act upon that. Please understand this. This is critical. So I'm gonna end it here, because I truly believe that when you take this spiritual game and you really start to look at it as not just something to do to get something, but you see it as a skill that can literally change your life for the long run, and you build up these skills in any way that as you see fit, I'm telling you, it has amazed me, some of the stuff, just to be able to tap into my intuition, to be able to know, like, oh, okay, like I'm telling you, you can ask my coworker, I be spot on some people. I found out I was an empath and energy and stuff like that. I be reading people energy sometimes. I be like, nah, I don't like that person. I don't know, it's something about them. And then next thing you know, self-destruct. And he was like, dude, yep, you did say that. You did say that. Learn the trick, the chill out trick, when to learn how to get people that negative vampire energy off of you. Psh. Working at the job I was working at, I was able to save my sanity. But I saw that it worked, and I saw like, oh, okay, this is real. Like the first time it happened, okay, that could be a coincidence, right? But I know it's no coincidences in the universe, right? You always lie to yourself at first because you don't want to believe that you have a skill, but okay. But then I did it again, and it was like, psh, person was gone. I was like, oh, okay. Did it again. Oh, psh, person's gone. Did it again. Person's gone. Now, how fast it went, some were quicker than the other, but that method, yes, it'll be in the book. But it's real. After so many times, you can't tell me. After every time I did it, now they finally leave. But beforehand, when I didn't do it, they were strong in there, vampire-ish. Like, that's for sure. They was not budging. They were going to be there forever if I didn't do something, right? So those are different things, and it's a ton of things out there, but you really got to put in the work, like I said, and you really have to look at this as a skill and no longer as just some made up stuff, because there's a lot of people who are just in it to try to hustle you because they know you don't know. Because if you took it like a skill, then learning the game, you're not just going to get persuaded so easily. Right? Like, you're going to have to show me something. So, I love you. Definitely take care. Sending you positive energy, love, light. You're more than deserving of everything you're going after. You're worthy of it. You're lovable. Please understand that. Make sure you practice your daily gratitude, your appreciation, because that is going to help you a ton. And treat this as a skill that can help you and build you in all the right ways. And please subscribe, share, like the video. If you do got questions or want to find out more about coaching, emails there, please comment, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. Even if you listen to it, if you don't, still love y'all. Gonna keep going. Okay. Talk to you next time. Peace.